Things just got extremely interesting for the Pittsburgh Penguins as a new article has revealed a few defensive options for the team heading into next season, and some of these will surprise Penguins fans. We're going to break down who these players are and the implications they would have on the lineup next season and why Kyle Dubas should go after these players. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the Pittsburgh Penguins, this is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins news. So go down below, hit that free subscribe button, and again, you get to stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins. But Mark, let's get right into it. Big news around the NHL again, of course, is the new offer sheet compensation league-wide, and it's certainly changed, and it's going to be, I think, a lot easier with a lot of the big names on this list to acquire some of these players this offseason. And again, the list is crazy. Like, I'm not saying the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to go after anyone like JJ Peterka or Evan Bouchard. Like, they're likely to stay with their teams, that's for sure. But you never know. Things could get messy this offseason because, as you see here, there's new comp for offer sheets, and again, you only have to give up like a first and a third for a very good player if you want to sign him between, $4.6 million and $7 million. So things could get very interesting. But the first player I wanted to bring up, because we talked about forwards yesterday, but let's talk about defensemen, because that's an area where the Pittsburgh Penguins need to, first of all, upgrade. And we don't know what's going to happen with guys like Matt Grzelcyk, for example. They would like to bring him back, but let's get into it. This is from Kelsey, and there's a couple other targets flying around. We're going to focus on two today. And the first one I think that is very interesting is Keandre Miller, or we'll start with Bowen Byram, actually, of the Buffalo Sabres. And I know, Mark, you know quite a bit about Bowen Byram as well, so we'll get into that. But it's a very interesting fit. Another left shot defenseman, obviously coming over from the Colorado Avalanche. He's won a Stanley Cup as well, so he has that experience being on a Stanley Cup winning team. What do you make of Bowen Byram? He's only 23 years old right now. We'll get into his stats in a second, but he is set to become a restricted free agent. He would probably play the left side. He hasn't had the greatest seasons as of late, but again, he has the experience of winning a Stanley Cup, being with a Stanley Cup winning team, and he's a great young player still.
I mean, the big thing is looking at his previous seasons, he's been on the Buffalo Sabres, not the best franchise to play for right now. But the big thing with Byram that a lot of people continuously forget is, yes, the injury history is a bit of concern. He's kind of stepped away from all those injuries as much as one can. But he was at one point a top four defenseman at a very young age. On a Stanley Cup winning team, we've seen him eating top minutes on top pairings for the Colorado Avalanche before going off to the Buffalo Sabres. But Byron is a guy that could come in, make an immediate impact, still very young and easily going into the future of this team. I could see him being the perfect replacement from someone like Kris Letang going into the future. Yes, this team is not getting younger. Letang and Karlsson are two guys that are in their 30s, getting older. They're going to have to look at a phase where they can move into the younger guys, and Byron would be perfect, an offensive defenseman that does still have a bit of a two-way game, someone that can grow with his team, quarterback, a power play if you want as well. I think, in my opinion, this is the top target for the Penguins to go after. This is a guy that can immediately slot onto the top line if you want, into your top four, not only for this season, but for the years to come, Darius. I don't know if you feel this way, but bringing in a guy that's still young, someone with playoff experience, someone that has won a Stanley Cup, does this not really feel like the perfect defenseman for the Penguins?
This is a good one. There's another one coming up that we're going to cover in a few minutes too that I think could make some sense for the Penguins, but this is probably the best pickup if you're the Penguins. He can play the left side. He's only 23 years old. He's not the biggest player, but he's a good skater. He's won the Stanley Cup. He has that experience at a young age, and he is young, right? Like, again, he's only 23 right now. He's going to be 24 next season. You can have him for, many years, and it's not like you're acquiring a 30-year-old defenseman at this point. This is a guy who can grow with this team still. He's still so young and so early in his NHL career. And again, his cap hit right now is $3.8 million, just over $3.8 million. So I would imagine that he's going to get maybe a $7 million contract or $8 million at this point long term, because again, the salary cap's going up. He hasn't really proven himself yet, but I don't know if he's gotten the opportunity to do that, because again, he was on Colorado and they were winning Stanley Cups and, in and out of the lineup at times. And now he's been wasting away in Buffalo as well. So it's been tough. He's dealt with injuries as well, so that's something to consider. But it's a very interesting option, I think, for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if you take a look at his stats, last season he had 38 points in 82 games. He played all 82 games. He has dealt with injuries, but it's not to say that he is injury prone. And again, he was eating a ton of minutes in Buffalo as well, playing an average of almost 23 minutes a night. So this would be a really good option for the Penguins. And again, like, you can only put up so much offense on the Buffalo Sabres, let's be honest. So it's a really good option in my eyes. But to move to another option, and that is K'Andre Miller of the New York Rangers. And this is an interesting case because this one would be a great option too. He can play the left side, much like Byram for sure, but this one's different. He's a bigger body, and again, Kelsey has him in the article as well. He's a much bigger body than Bowen Byram. The New York Rangers are not as cash-strapped as some other teams, so it looks like they'll probably end up re-signing him, but he is a hot commodity, I think, out there for a lot of other teams. He doesn't use his physicality like he should. He doesn't use his frame like he should. That is one downfall of him. He has all the tools to be a great NHL defenseman, a great physical force out there, but he hasn't put it all together, and I would say he actually has low hockey IQ, so that's something to be wary of. But if Kyle Dubas can bring him in, maybe he can work with a new coach, which is something we're going to cover in another video as well. You know, it could, a fresh start could do him good because he's been playing very competitive hockey and been scrutinized for his entire career at this point. He came in and the Rangers were competitive right away. So, you know, maybe a fresh start, putting him, you know, in a different role because he's playing against the best competition this year too. Maybe that's something they look at and he can flourish. But again, this is a guy who has all the tools. And Mark, I want your thoughts on this player specifically as well. But he has all the tools, just hasn't put it together yet. He's 25, so that's something to be wary of. But maybe if you sign him to a bridge, it could be a good option for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I mean, the big thing is the Rangers want to get better. This is a guy that you might be able to pry out if you can offer him a bigger contract. He would have to accept, but I do see a change of scenery working. As you said, all the tools are there. A big, fast defenseman that has the opportunity to go out and pot you goals, put up assists, and play defense. He just really hasn't felt motivated, is the best way to put it, to really push into that. But there's no better player in the league right now to give you motivation other than Sidney Crosby. Yeah. Coming in, I think K'Andre Miller could immediately jump into the top pairing, or at least in the top four. At the very worst, I think this is a very good option. Him and Byram are two guys you really need to look at. The guys we touched on in the video yesterday, check that as well. This is an offseason where Dubas has a very big decision to make, and I think he can kind of jumpstart this retool by successfully getting one of these offer sheets out.
Absolutely. I think this is a good opportunity for so many teams, but especially the Pittsburgh Penguins. They can do that. Now, Kyle Dubas said that he's going to be very cautious and cautiously optimistic with offer sheets, so keep that in mind. But if something arises and it makes sense and they will sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins, I could see them doing that. Now, K'Andre Miller, earlier this season, his agent did come out and say they want a significant raise, and he's making 3.8 right now. Rangers fans think that that's ridiculous and almost would rather trade him or let him go for an offer sheet too. So keep that in mind too. The Rangers could just let him go. They could be open to just letting him go. So this could be an interesting option as well, but I don't think he's going to get a significant raise. I think he comes in maybe the $6.5 million range, which for him, if he can put it all together, because again, he is 25. I feel like some players do figure it out later, you know, in their careers. If he does put it together, man, this could be a very dominant force on your top defensive pairing. And I just wanted to show off his stats for a second too, because, you know, not the most offensive guy, 27 points in 74 games this year. He dealt with an upper body injury and actually did get surgery this offseason, but he was logging a ton of minutes, averaging 22 minutes a night, and he was playing against the toughest competition against the Rangers night in and night out. And I don't know if it should have been put on his shoulders this season. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Penguins do. This is what the cap looks like for next season, and they have a projected $23 million heading into next season of open cap space. So it's not going to stay that way. They're going to weaponize that cap space in some fashion, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But let us know in the comments what you think of K'Andre Miller and Byram. Could be some interesting options on the defensive end that they could go after. Again, Dubas, I'm not sure he's going to do an offer sheet, but if it makes sense and the other team is going to let them go, then it could really help, you know, accelerate things a little bit in terms of a retool. But let us know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.